If the whole point of Maverick is for him to be incredibly overpowered, then sure, it defeats the point of Maverick. But Maverick right now is ridiculously powerful because he can kill anyone without them even knowing he's there. My body flew. The only time people like Maverick is when they are Maverick. Let me break it down for you real quick. Actually, do you guys want like an informational session right now? I have a little rant I could do. Yeah, if any of your friends say that Maverick is not overpowered, then they're not the smartest individuals. So, let's look at a history of Siege. Originally, there was one breaching operator, Thermite. Thermite could breach any reinforced wall. However, there was a counter to Thermite. Actually, two counters, rather. Bandit and Mute. These two gadgets have two simple properties. If a wall is electrified, the Bandit will... one sec. Destroy the Thermite charge. That's what red means. Now, Mute's a little different. Mute can put down a jammer, and it'll stop the exothermic charge from going off, but it'll only delay it. That is blue. Does not destroy it. Bandit destroys it. Alright? And then bring in Hibana. Hibana originally would... one sec. Hibana would always be jammed by Mute jammers. That has never changed. Once they set off, Mute can't jam it, just like a Thermite charge. Once the gadget has been set off, it cannot be jammed. However, originally, bandits would only destroy X-Kyro pellets if the X-Kyro pellets got shot onto a bandited wall. Once the pellets were already being detonated, they would not be destroyed. We'll make that as a green. However, in year 2, season 1, I want to say, they changed it, and bandits could destroy Hibana pellets overall. So, we have a pretty simple system here, right? Bandit, destroy. Mute, jam, but not destroy. Now, I don't have Maverick's gadget. I don't have his graphic. So, let's draw it. Okay, this is Maverick's gadget. Now tell me, where does it lie on this normal system? Can it be jammed by Mute? Need another color. No, that's what yellow means. Can it be destroyed by Bandit? No. Someone tell me how this is more balanced. It's not. They even balanced out Hibana because they realized, oh, X-Kyro's going through bandits doesn't make any sense. That's too powerful. Oh, let's bring out Maverick. He can go through reinforced walls that are bandited and muted. Does not matter. Like, seriously? Maverick's overpowered. You can literally look at this and understand why he's overpowered. It makes no sense. He has 0 counters. You know what other operators have 0 counters? Nobody. ADSs can be destroyed by Thatchers, Twitch drones. They can be used up. They can be shot. Armor panels can be destroyed by Sledgehammer, Ash Charge, Zofia Charge, grenades, Breaching Charge. What else? Nitrocells. EDDs. X-Kyros. Thermite charges, I guess. You're dumb and use that. Overall, all these gadgets can be countered, except for Maverick's blowtorch. It makes no sense. I'm assuming Chalky is just trolling, but no, bullets do not count as a counter. I guess the only gadget you could say that would fall into that same category would be Blackbeard, because of shield. But that's not really the same context. Blackbeard doesn't fucking breach into a reinforced wall. Shields have no gadget counter, only C4s. Goo. Grismont. Frost Trap. EDDs. What else? Signal Disruptor jams Blitz's shield. That's a counter. Yokai. Shields have a lot of counters. It's just a matter of actually using them properly. Cav can't be countered. Cav's a mixed bag, because she's shit. So, it's not really as bad. You can counter a Cav interrogation because she is vulnerable. She can't defend herself while she's interrogating someone, and you know exactly where she is because you can see someone being interrogated. You can shoot through the wall and kill her. So I would say there's a balance there. That Cav can be killed easily because she can't defend herself. Maverick, on the other hand, can destroy a hole in the wall. No one will hear him and he can peek in and kill them. Yes, you can be shot if someone notices it, but I'd say probably 60% of the time no one notices it because how are you going to hear that? Jackal doesn't have a counter. I'm trying to think. None of the gadgets on defense really counter it. But that one's also kind of a mixed bag. 1, Jackal has to stay alive. 2, Jackal has to find your footprints. Which, if you're roaming... yeah, it sucks. But Jackal, it's different. Jackal's still not overpowered, because his thing updates once every 4 seconds, 5 different times. It's a little different, because he doesn't get, like, live information from you. Jackal is only really overpowered when you combo him with Lion and Dokkaebi, because then they physically cannot do anything. But that's part of a combo. That's different than one sole operator being overpowered. Are you guys saying that Mute counters Jackal? Because it doesn't. You can be standing in a Mute jammer, you still will get scanned by Jackal. That doesn't stop it. Mute counters Jackal's vision if he has it on, but he can turn that off. We're saying, like, if someone's already tracking you, I guess that's different. Mute does counter Jackal because he can't track you if he's within range of a jammer or too close, because it starts making his screen fuzzy and he doesn't have the ability to click on anything. But if he's already scanning you, wouldn't that be the equivalent of, say, someone jumping into a frost mat? Right? That's kind of in the same realm, because that means he's already gotten his utility off. That'd be like if you jumped into a frost mat and you're like, damn it, there's no counter to getting out of a frost trap. It's like, no, you jumped into it. What do you expect? The gadget's already doing its job. So if we're talking about before the gadget actually gets used, like the utility gets used up, then Jackal is technically countered by Mute. Cav can't be tracked. She can. It's just that her gadget counters Jackal's. If she triggers her silent stuff while being tracked, then it counters it. But if she doesn't, she still gets tracked. And if that her sound step is already on when Jackal first starts tracking her, then she can't get scanned. It's a little bit of a complicated relationship. Thank you for sub, Charlie. What is he doing? We're arguing about Maverick being overpowered. Glaz counters? Glaz is also a bit of a tricky one, because he has a scope. It's not really... like... It's different. He's not breaching walls. He's not planting objective or doing anything specific. Like, it's just he has a scope. If Glaz could break through reinforced walls or destroy other gadgets because of his scope, then yes, that would be overpowered. But all he does is just add more vision to his gun, and he uses bullets. He's not using rounds that can go through a mirror and destroy the mirror. He's not hunting down ADSs because he can see them through walls or anything. Thank you for sub, Ninja. So you guys see what I'm trying to say? Like, Maverick gets his ability off without any counters to his ability. Glaz is just shooting with a bigger scope. It's different. To some extent, Castle does counter him. That's also true. Castle technically can counter that, but that's like saying Castle also counters people with a gun. It's a loose one, but technically true. Yeah, some of these operators have exceptions. Some of them are a little weird because it's hard to define what really is a counter and what isn't. Because technically, you could say that Bandit doesn't counter Thermite because if it's a bad bandit, he won't counter the Thermite charge. You just destroy the bandit and then breach. Like, it's all based on what your definition of a counter is. Because then you could also say something like, there's no counter to smoke. But technically there is. Because smoke canisters that are pre-placed, you can destroy. If he wants to throw smoke at you, he has to peek and make himself vulnerable. You can kill him. But gadget counters, technically there are none. There's no gadget that helps you with gas canisters. But our definition of what is a counter is shifting a lot, so I don't know where we're lying on this. Overall, Maverick, no counters. Not a single gadget stops Maverick's ability. Every other ability here, in some way, has a counter, or the ability itself is not powerful enough to require a counter. For example, Glaz's scope, like we said. What counters IQ? That falls into the ability not being good enough to require a specific counter. Could, like, imagine if Candelas weren't absorbed by ADSs. Any Ying could just flash into any room and just kill everyone because they wouldn't be able to stop her. My definition, something that hinders the ability's gadget to be used. That's a pretty good definition. Something like Dokkaebi being cancelled by mute jammers. That hinders its ability. Glaz doesn't need any hindrance because his scope doesn't do much besides amplify his vision and see thermal, which he could see you anyways, regardless. Again, nothing counters Maverick. Maverick's little blowtorch goes pew pew and destroys everything. Not to mention Maverick's blowtorch can destroy Maestro cameras. It can't destroy mirrors, which I thought was a little interesting. Because, think about it. A mirror is just a metal rectangle with a piece of glass. A Maestro camera is bulletproof metal, but Maverick can break the camera, but he can't break mirrors, even though they're both metal. What I'm saying is that Mute should be able to jam Maverick's blowtorch. It doesn't make any sense, because Mute can only jam wireless signals. But for the sake of having a counter, Mute would be very good against Maverick. What should happen with Bandit? Right now, I think it's 3 damage every time you get shocked by Bandit. Or 5 damage? I think it's 5 damage. Oh, somewhere between 3 to 5. Bandit should just amplify how much damage it does to Maverick. It should, like, go, for lore reasons, the electricity should go through the blowtorch and then just shock Maverick a lot. Like, double how quick, or double how fast he gets shocked. So instead of being shocked like once every second, he gets shocked twice every second. And he takes more damage. Instead of 5, it's 10. It's 3? Okay. Instead of 3, it's 6. Something like that. So 6 damage every tick, 2 ticks per second, instead of 3 damage per tick, 1 tick per second, something like that. It doesn't have to be hard counters. It just has to be something to prevent him from being so universally easy to use. Because as it stands, Maverick is uncounterable. And a good Maverick can destroy a reinforced wall without exposing his head. You either blow open a line above you because they won't be able to see your head when you're looking up, or you repel, blow a hole below you, or you look far to the right or far to the left and make a hole and then peek it later. Like, a good Maverick won't just get headshot right away as soon as they're breaking a hole. A bad Maverick will just stand there with the blowtorch perfectly in front of them, make a hole, and then just get domed right in the head. 20 damage per second. Well, if bandit batteries do 3 damage per tick, 1 tick per second, which I actually don't know if that's true, but for the sake of argument, we'll say it's that. Then I'm saying it should be 6 damage per tick, 2 ticks per second, total of 12 damage per second. Which I guess would be quadrupling the amount of damage. Maybe just... Oh, actually, I don't know. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Quadruple seems like a lot, but for an operator that currently has absolutely no counters at all, something needs to be done, right? It doesn't make sense that Blitz Shield gets jammed by mute jammers, so the Blowtorch would make sense too. That's true. Right now, Blitz Shield is the only gadget that gets jammed that's not completely wireless. Because what else gets jammed? ED or EE1D, Dokkaebi calls, Nano Boost. I guess X cars and all that, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, it mute jams Split Shield, so why shouldn't it mute Maverick Torch? And yeah, realistically, mute shouldn't stop Maverick. But I feel like we're a bit beyond the point of realism, are we not? I talked about this in yesterday's video, where I was like, Siege was originally designed to be a super incredibly realistic shooter. Are any of you trying to say that Siege is still that? It is not. It's more realistic than other games, 100%. But is it a completely 100% realistic? No. It's so far gone. They lost all points of realism once they went to... Black Eyes are somewhat normal. Campitao is normal. Once they went to Yokai and X-Kairos, that's when they lost all points of realism. It doesn't though, John. Blitz Shield, although you can't see it, is completely wired. A wireless jammer that blocks wireless frequencies would not be able to stop you from pushing a button attached to your gadget. Blitz's shield has a button that has a wire straight to the flash, so it wouldn't stop it. So mute shouldn't be able to counter him. Yeah, but we're saying it should for the sake of balance. Who the fuck cares about realism at this point? You have an operator who has a blowtorch, who can break through huge mounds of metal, and it makes 0 noise. I don't know much about blowtorches, but I'm pretty sure a blowtorch would make more noise than that. Yeah, Cav is a little... Cav can make sense because... Try to picture it this way. Cav interrogates someone, takes off their communications gadget, which would be like a headset or earbuds or something, and then hacks in to find out where the locations of all the enemies are based on GPS location. And then it takes the attacking team about 5 seconds for them to like kick her out of the network and go to something else. In that case, it is realistic. Obviously, not all of that happens in game because then you'd be in an animation for the whole 10 seconds, but you can explain it to some degree. The silent step, no, you could argue that that's super realistic. Because, like, look, I'll give you an example. If I'm just, like, stomping around, actually, I don't even know if the mic will pick this up. I can stomp around like that, or I can, like, gently walk. Somewhat realistic. You can, like, train to learn how to move very, very silently. That is realistic. The fact that it makes every single noise she makes 25 or 75% quieter, that's unrealistic. But again, sake of balance, sake of fun, realism kind of goes out the window. Jackal's the only one who's like, what the fuck? I'm pretty sure... yeah. I was going to try to make an argument for it, but realistically, there is none. I'm sure there are pieces of technology that can, like, not necessarily track someone, but, like, determine footprint location, how old the footprint is, and stuff like that based off, like, residue that leaves behind. But, yeah, Jackal is pretty unrealistic. Can anyone in chat say that they have fun playing against Maverick, so when you're a defender playing against him? Because I have a really hard time believing anyone's like, oh, this is fun. I like this. Playing as Maverick, yeah, that's hella fun. I love playing Maverick because of how overpowered he is, but actually playing against him makes me just want to claw my brain out. Yeah, see, no one has fun playing against Maverick. The only people who ever argue that Maverick is good are the ones who play him all the time and then kill everyone because of it. but playing against him is annoying and boring. This makes me rethink about everything that I've ever said about Blackbeard. Back in Season 2 of Year 1, I was a Blackbeard main because I loved him because he was so fucking overpowered. And at the time, I didn't really think of him as being overpowered because I was like, just run around him, kill him. But realistically, he was incredibly overpowered and not fun in the game. But since I played him all the time, I didn't see it like that. So I think Maverick's in the exact same boat. The only people who argue that he's not overpowered are the ones who play him all the time. The ones who argue that he is overpowered are the ones who have actually dealt with him on both sides. I tried to suggest that, Jernemies, that to increase the sound, the amount of people. One sec, let me find you some YouTube comments. Making Maverick's blowtorch louder than an exothermic charge would destroy the point of Maverick. A fix could be a loudish sparking noise like an actual blowtorch instead of a... What? Either way, people are saying no, they don't want Maverick to be as loud as an exothermic charge. I think he should be. Like, you know how exothermic charges have those white... what's it called? Sparks coming out and that loud noise? That should be what Maverick's blowtorch is like the entire time. Someone said, I think Maverick's fine, but if it's louder, they can just peek you instantly. What? The argument I'm making is that he's too quiet and that he can kill anyone. They're saying, like, no, he's fine because he can kill anyone, but if they make it louder, then they're going to kill me. What? Like, these are the people arguing that Maverick is fine. Someone said Maverick should just be made into a 2-speed and that the sound of his blowtorch should be as loud as a Twitch drone. I think people also misunderstand what I mean when I say loud as an exothermic charge. I'm not saying as loud as the explosion. I'm saying as loud as when the fuse is going off. You know, when the sparks are flying before the explosion, that's how loud it should be. Thank you for the sub to George. And that's what I say. And people are saying that that's too loud. Like, you can tell that the whole point of Maverick is that he's supposed to be stealthy, because look at this. The only other operator in the game who has this is Cav. When you put a silencer on Maverick, he has a custom silencer. So the whole point of it is that they're like, he should be silenced, he should be stealthy, and that's why they have their blowtorch at such a low level. But shit's not fun. So Seth, you're saying add a mask to Maverick so that he has to, like a welder's mask. That'd be kind of interesting, because that'd be playing into Jackal. Imagine having to put on a mask while you're blowtorching and turning it off or flipping it up when you're done. I'd be fine with that. Reduces visibility so you can't see much. He still gets one-shot headshot. But also, you should still make his blowtorch louder. Maybe Maverick should be a little bit more silent than a Hibana. I'd say he's louder than a Hibana, because sometimes X-Kyro pellets, you still don't hear it. But I don't know whether that's the game glitching out, because there have been times where I'm sitting right next to a row of Hibana pellets, and they make zero noise. So it could be just a glitch that I'm experiencing, but pellets are still way too quiet sometimes. Would it be too much with the mask idea to blind teammates like flashbangs? I'd say if you were... actually... you'd have to have the mask, or Maverick would just have to have a built-in mask to prevent himself from going blind. But blinding teammates because you're blowing open the wall would be an interesting concept, where if they stare into the blowtorch, they get blinded. But then you'd also have to blind the defending team, which make it even more powerful. Imagine you're sitting on site, and then all of a sudden a blinding light comes through a little hole in the wall, and you're completely blind. It probably wouldn't work out. I didn't even think about that. Maverick running it around with a blowtorch and just blinding everyone. That'd actually be pretty funny. Yeah, if Maverick made holes faster but it was as loud as a thermite charge, I'd say that's fine. Maybe it should be somewhere between Hibana pellets and exothermic charges. Not a question, but yes, it should be. Somewhere in between X-Kyro pellets and the fuse of the exothermic charge. I feel like I have to clarify that now because people don't seem to understand what I mean. What if they outline the holes with a bright orange? No, because anything that's bright can prevent the defenders from seeing through the hole, right? You got to keep in mind that any bounces made to Maverick have to impact attackers more than they impact defenders. I guess if it was bright orange, it would stop them from being able to peek in as much because it'd be too bright for them. But it would also prevent the defenders from peeking out. So it's like a double-edged sword, I guess. All right, I'm done.